Stanford, first place to the Pac-12, top 5 in the country.
So the Stanford club is loaded at every position. You get a win against Stanford, and that is definitely saying something.
Driven into the box, headed, and SC's on the board.
There's a shot from distance, and it's home. What a strike. Cook poaching, in front, tipped in.
I can't tell you how important this match is.
Our Pac-12 women's soccer game of the week brings us to University Ave, just off campus here at Stanford, for a matchup of the top 2 teams in the Pac-12. It's a top 25 showdown between USC and Stanford. The women of Troy have won 5 in a row. Stanford still perfect in Pac-12 play, and with a win over USC tonight, the Cardinal could clinch no worse than a share of the conference crown. And good evening, everyone. With Chris LeBlanc, I'm JB Long, so we know what's at stake. Now you do as well. Do you think the student-athletes know the stakes tonight at Stanford?
They absolutely know what is at stake. The coaches can't keep it from them. There's no doubt about it. But it's not going to be a pressure situation for them. It's a motivational factor.
Both sides riding tremendous winning streaks, both coming off 3-0 victories last time out in conference play.
Well, it was a downpour in Seattle, but for Stanford, it didn't seem to bother them as the talented freshman Jordan DiBiase got things going finally in the second half, and then back-to-back goals within a couple of minutes for Stanford. They went up 2-0, and then finally this one, another freshman, Alana Cook, taking advantage of a mistake by the keeper Kufeld. 3-0 the win for Stanford, a big one on the road.
And it continues a trend that we've noticed all season, and that is the underclassmen leading the way for the Stanford Cardinal. Look at Andy Sullivan on 5 goals, Carusa 4, and Zhao with 4 as well. The underclassmen have been a tremendous part of the Cardinal success. Meanwhile, the women of Troy, they haven't allowed a goal in 3 matches, most recently a triumph over Colorado.
They got the win, and a PK by Morgan Andrews. She puts that one in, and then the third goal on the evening, the 51st minute, the header off the corner. That's just how you draw it up. They get a big win, 3-0 against Colorado. Seniors had never beaten them.
So 2 of the hottest teams in the Pac-12 and in all of women's college soccer. It's our Game of the Week next on Pac-12 Network.
This Pac-12 women's soccer game is brought to you by Pure Silk. Pure Silk Moisturizing Cream for legs that look and feel like pure silk.
Welcome back to the farm, where the Stanford Cardinal will play their final 3 regular season matches here in Pac-12 play. And with a victory tonight against USC, a conference crown could be theirs. Kayla McAlpine sends his alignment to the field this way, with Sammy Jo Prudhomme in goal and Dominique Randall, a very key piece as one of the center backs in front of her. 2 of the big reasons why USC has posted 3 consecutive shutouts. As for Paul Radcliffe's 11, 14-2 on the season, a perfect 8-0 in conference play. Sullivan and Rosen share the team lead in goals. And so with Chris LeBlanc, JB Long here, the 2 head coaches, 2 of the best in the league, Paul Radcliffe and Kayla McAlpine, 1-2 in the standings as they take the pitch tonight.
I think the thing about what these 2 coaches have done, Paul has been with Stanford a little longer, his 13th season. Kadani just his 2nd year, but he's been part of the Pac-12. He was at Washington State prior to that. They're both positive. They're both upbeat, and they are very disciplined with their team. For the most part, Stanford probably the most disciplined team in the conference. But USC can play direct. They're very athletic, and probably one of the best, if not the best, matchup to go up against the Cardinal.
Stanford wearing their black uniforms tonight. USC, the whites on the road. Early touch for Mandy Freeman. Midfielder carries across the center stripe. Savannah Levin is on the left flank tonight. There's a ball over the top with Fink the target. Fink started the year as the right forward, but they like her playing at the top of the formation now, with Sydney Slodek sliding over to attack from the right, the place where she had previously been.
You have to make little tweaks and adjustments, especially when you see this series. When you haven't been able to beat a team, you've got to make sure that you've got everybody matched up, going up against who they need to go up against. And Stanford's dominated, JB, but only a couple of seasons ago, USC was able to get the win here at Stanford.
Some upperclassmen remaining on the roster who are part of that 2013 victory here at Kagan Stadium. 1 minute in, and there's one of the goal scorers, a freshman from Far Hill, New Jersey. The match we showed you against Washington, a 3-0 triumph for the Cardinal. Alana Cook, freshman center back for Stanford.
The Cardinal have won 8 matches in a row. They have been on a roll. That last loss, a non-conference matchup at Santa Clara, and they have been very consistent with their wins since then.
The Broncos really attacked Stanford with high pressure, took away a lot of the pockets that the Cardinal typically operate within. I think every Pac-12 team would like to steal that scouting report, but easier said than done, of course.
You have to have the right matchup, and if you're going to get a chance to send it Jane Campbell's way, it's not easy. Not many teams have been able to do that. In their last match at Washington, the Huskies held back a little bit. There's some pressure out. You see the pressure. You have to try to do that, and that's where I said USC to me has one of the best matchups because they are so athletic. They can take some chances by pressuring.
Jane Campbell is the reigning Pac-12 Keeper of the Week, although Sammy Jo Prudhomme, her counterpart with a couple of shutouts, also would have been a nice selection. Here's Levin driving center. Freeman able to carry on. She sends across the top of the 18, flicked away like Andy Sullivan in a defensive posture. DiBiase lays it off to Sullivan.
And you can see the pressure by USC, and it's causing Stanford to be a little bit out of their shape. They're going to go back through Jane Campbell. They're going to try to reset. They like the spacing. They like to keep it wide. And they like to work through the middle when they can. Is pressure causing them some problems?
That's a great 30-yard pass there to link up with DiBiase. She's dispossessed. Stanford able to win it back, however. Stephanie Amack, the left back, Laura Lytle, the right back. They will each get forward into the Stanford attack. Andrews able to keep it right in front of the Stanford bench. And spins out and waits for a wave of supports. Freeman arrives with that in mind. Now she gets end line. A half-hit cross, but it works out for the women of Troy. They pick up the first corner of the match.
They have been dominating their opponents in shots and corners. 2 times the corners as their opponents, but you can say the same thing and almost more for the Cardinal.
Here's Kayla Mills to take the corner. She's on 2 goals with 3 assists as Campbell, a Stanford captain, sets her defense in front of her own area. A lofted ball that lands in the 6, right in the waiting arms of Jane Campbell. A quick distribution to spring Stanford on the counter. Tegan McGrady, another one of these talented Stanford freshmen. As the Cardinal pull it through their center backs, a chance to introduce Maddie Bauer. She's another captain. And Lytle gets a touch ahead to Michelle Zhao. Zhao drives so well onto her left. Diagonal pass left back for Kira Carusa. End line service. Zhao nearly got on it and paid the price. Andy Sullivan has a go from distance, about 10 feet high of the cage.
This speed and pace, I think, an advantage for the Cardinal right now. They tried the counter. They don't hesitate whatsoever on this cross, and Zhao was there. Good matchup, good defense getting back by USC, and then Andy Sullivan from way out. She's got the leg to do it, and that was Carusa getting wide on the right flank.
2 of those 4 goals she's produced have been game winners. Zhao a bit careless with that first touch. Levin back defensively to help win it for the women of Troy. Now here is Lea Rosen, who would be a very legitimate Pac-12 Player of the Year candidate were it not for Ariel Shipp and what she's doing across the bay at Cal. Another hat trick for Shipp today against UCLA, part of a 7-0 win. I think that has to wrap up the Player of the Year honors for her.
If she doesn't, I will be shocked. It would be really unfortunate if she doesn't. What she's been able to do this season is just incredible. So fun to watch.
McGrady gets the play out wide. Breaks end line, hits it across. Zhao in front and saved at the last. Rosen a volley. And Zhao gets another crack at it. A flurry from the Cardinal. But 6 minutes in, no results.
It's the positioning. It's what you're doing away from the ball. Michelle Zhao, so active. There's Lea Rosen. She can be an assist player. She can be a scorer this time. She lofts it up. Beautiful cross there. Zhao just moving, gets behind the D, but can't keep her footing. It starts really McGrady is the one that kick-started this play and just lost her footing at the last second. Good help D coming over.
Prysock able to pry it away from Stanford and prevent a goal. Stephanie Amax on the move and asking for the throw. A quick restart looking for Kira Carusa in the area, and Stanford gets its first corner. Stanford plus 97 on the season in terms of corner opportunities. Truly astounding the way that they have dominated the ball and the corner chances.
It's a team that typically gets more aggressive as they go along, but right now I'd say they've come out being very aggressive, and maybe it's because USC was down in their attacking third and got that first corner. Whatever it takes.
Lea Rosen in swinger, headed away by the women of Troy, and cleared. So well marked from the corner for USC. Again, they have pitched 3 consecutive shutouts in conference play. The last Pac-12 team to do that was UCLA last year when the Bruins finished the season without allowing a goal in 7 straight conference games and extended that streak to 10 matches overall as they went into NCAA play. Good geometric shape there from Lytle and Zhao. Able to keep it with Rosen. Right back for Stanford and a battle with Levin for USC.
Levin has really been applying the pressure.
Like that pass to Carusa a lot. She steps away to find a pocket and wanted Lytle. A bit overcooked. We are in the 8th minute. 3 shots in Stanford's favor, all coming consecutively, as they look to improve to 9-0 in conference play. It'll be a stiff test tonight against Sammy Jo Prudhomme.
Sammy Jo, what a season she's having. Transferring from Oregon State, she was able to practice with the team last year, and that's a big plus because USC graduated Caroline Stanley, their keeper, and so you get a veteran keeper to come in, and a good one at that. Big plus for the Trojans.
More than 280 minutes and counting since she and the women of Troy last allowed a goal. This is a great ball over the top. The turf is a little cool and slick tonight, and it skipped to Jane Campbell. I think that played in Stanford's favor.
Her decision-making has become so much better this year. She's really maturing back in the box and knowing when to come out, and she takes some chances, but she's very smart.
Look at that run by Sullivan as she slalomed through 3 Trojan defenders. Someone lost a shoe right in the center circle there.
I wasn't sure what it was. I assumed it was a shoe, but...
It's a great cut inside by Levin, but not the first touch she wanted. Upon further review, I don't think it was a shoe. I think it was the referee's spray with which he can draw a free kick line. There it is. You see the bottle on his belt there. By the way, don't ever read the ingredient label on that, because I did it last time.
Just
and
don't breathe in if you're near there. Is that
well, it's Halloween appropriate and not much else.
Yes.
Here's Lea Rosen. Back to Jane Campbell. 10 goals allowed this season for Campbell. A sterling 0.67 goals against average. She picked up her 25th career shutout in that 3-0 win at UW. And she's now within 1 of Emily Oliver, who preceded her here on the farm and was a Stanford great. And Trojans will pick up the first foul here. It looked like Fink was the guilty party. Oh, look at this list of Pac-12 keepers. Emily Boyd picks up another today in a 7-0 triumph for Cal. Prudhomme, Campbell, Chandler Morris returning for a 5th season in Tempe. You saw Kufeld do her best to withstand the Stanford attack.
Yep.
Look at Zhao. Would have been textbook, but she was offside.
She's so active. I love the movement and her quickness, and she's a very difficult player to mark and keep in front of you. Part of this incredibly talented top recruit class in the nation that Paul Radcliffe was able to bring in. And they have just been remarkable. 22 of the 31 total goals from freshmen and sophomores. Lots to look forward to for this program, and still plenty to look forward to this season. It'll be interesting to see how far this team can go.
Carusa brings it down, chips it over the top, had DiBiase in mind. While Mills and the rest of her back line figure to be busy tonight for USC.
Well, they are one of the most veteran-led back lines, very experienced, so that's a big plus for USC.
Prysock, Randall, and Donaldson, the other back four in front of Prudhomme.
What a great matchup. I can't wait to see how far these teams will go. USC as well. And how this conference is going to finish up. It looks as though Stanford's sitting up top, but these final matches are crucial.
Fine defensive work there by Kayla Mills, who in the 60th minute against Utah last week was taken down in the penalty area. That drew the PK, which was converted by Mandy Freeman for a 1-0 win. And then on senior day against Colorado, they exploded for 3 towels. Bent ball forward that Lytle arrives at first for Stanford. She and Maddie Bauer control for the Cardinal. They've had trouble linking up with Lytle here in the early going. She operates down that near side flank so effectively.
Well, part of it's this pressure. Look at all the white jerseys. They are staying up high. I like the pressure. You have to do this against Stanford.
Levin looking for the through ball. Alana Cook was there for Stanford. Pass back to Stephanie Amack. She's a junior from Pleasanton, California. Alana Cook next to her along the Stanford back floor. Now Amack can chew up some yardage. She gets into the attacking half. Tegan McGrady wants to go 1v1 with Mills. There's another matchup to watch tonight as Stanford has favored that left side, and Mills so far has withstood the test.
The speed between these two, McGrady and Mills. First team All Pac-12 last year was Kayla Mills, the junior. All region as well. And Tegan McGrady, the way she's started her season, she'll be an All Pac-12 member.
A chance to call Nicole Mullins' name, the sophomore midfielder, got a touch on it for USC. It goes back to Campbell. Now Stanford, if they are successful, might not have to leave the farm again until they reach the College Cup if they are so fortunate. They'll host UCLA here on Sunday, 3:30, a match you can see on Pac-12 Network, and then the Cross Bay Showdown with Cal, which should be another elite matchup to finish the regular season.
Yeah, what a plus if they were able to finish strong and be able to stay here on the home pitch. But as Paul Radcliffe said, we have a lot of play left. How about the positioning here? The foul against Stanford, and Lea Rosen can't believe it.
Reigning Pac-12 Player of the Week puts USC in a threatening little position.
I love the patience, and as she just turned, she clips Morgan Andrews. Andrews drawing that contact and gaining great positioning here. Leading scorer for the Trojans. She and Sidney Johnson both 5 goals on the year, but 4 assists for Morgan Andrews.
It is Andrews to hit it. Bent down on Campbell. We mentioned the field was watered just before sunset, and as we kind of made our way around the field, it was still damp moments before the match. Something to keep an eye on tonight.
Yeah. Cool evening. No wind to be found. That's a good thing. But that also means that the field could remain slippery, not getting any help from the wind. There's our conditions. 66 degrees.
Long lead pass for Tegan McGrady to run onto. And a cheeky little ball there that if it was deflected would be a corner kick. And it was.
Yeah, I thought it went off of Dom Randall.
So McGrady actually retreats to a defensive position, and she allows some of her taller back line to get forward into the penalty area as targets for Lea Rosen's corner.
Carusa is in there.
Front post, and again the women of Troy have the first header, and they clear their penalty area with ease. Calling for the handball there. I think the referee was blocked out, and no help from the assistants. Rosen after it, and now the flag comes up for a foul on her.
So again, Lea Rosen getting the cleats tied up. They wanted a handball. Yeah, comes down, hits the arm, but again, her back to the official. He was behind, and a couple of other Stanford players there. I think he got blocked.
Would have been a threatening restart for Stanford. Instead, 16 minutes into the match, and we're still scoreless. 3-1 the Stanford shot advantage to this point. Nice play into the feet of DiBiase. Her pass wide was off the mark. Freeman gets a touch inside.
Continued pressure. It's a big plus for USC, and especially now, this is a program that was struggling a bit with their subs, not getting much production, but that's something Coach Kidani McAlpine told us. His subs now coming in are starting to give more production. He said that gives us an extra wave. You can keep the fresh legs out there at all times.
The ball sent in by Natalie Donaldson. Zhao to it now for Stanford, battling Levin. And still on the move, Michelle Zhao looking through ball for Carusa, and it's sent away by Prysock.
Big leg from Prysock, a little too much, and the Cardinal didn't have to worry about it.
Interesting that both of these sides are so effective in goal prevention.
Yes.
And they each have freshmen playing center back roles.
Yeah, enough veteran play, and for USC, Kidani McAlpine made some adjustments, shifting some experienced players back to help out and protect.
Look how Andy Sullivan gets through two. At the feet now of Rosen. Lea Rosen will take shots from distance, and she'll often do it with her big left foot. A service right into the waiting arms of Sammy Jo Prudhomme with traffic all around her 6-yard box. She's coming off shutouts of Utah and Colorado. Has played every minute of this season in goal for the women of Troy and Kidani McAlpine.
She's a great shot stopper. She's very calm, Coach McAlpine told us. She's a calming presence. If you remember Caroline Stanley from the last few seasons for USC, she was more vocal, animated, energized, and Prudhomme a very different personality, but makes her presence known in the box. Very confident back there. And an injury down for USC.
Morgan Andrews, who's on 5 goals with 4 assists this season, her junior campaign for USC.
See what happens on the side as she gets tangled up with Alana Cook, and foot gets under her. Cook was pushing forward, and she's not going to put hardly any pressure, no pressure on that.
That's a troubling sign for Coach McAlpine and the women of Troy. This is the 1-2 showdown in the Pac-12, first place and second place. And I think, Krista, one of the biggest reasons why these teams are where they are on the Pac-12 table is because they're the 2 healthiest teams in the conference.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and that's a big key for any team coming into the season. And Andrews coming off of 2 goals in their last win. She's the point leader for USC. Hopefully they can maybe just tape up and get her back out there.
Lea Rosen unable to keep it, but it comes away to Amack, and now she's got Andy Sullivan on the switch over to Lytle. Levin rises the defender as the pass goes ahead to Zhao. Battling Donaldson, the outside back. A job well done by Donaldson, but on the floor and loose until the whistle and a foul on Stanford.
Wow, physical play, letting them play. Natalie Donaldson, one of 8 seniors for USC. And she's a player that's got a tough matchup there with Michelle Zhao, but I like the hustle by Natalie Donaldson. I like the physicality, too. I think you have to be a little physical and aggressive with Stanford, and they're doing a great job. Can they sustain it? That's the big question, I think.
Donaldson, a 3rd-year transfer from Auburn, which is also a few steps back in Kidani McAlpine's career before he arrived in Pullman to take over the Washington State program and eventually made his way to L.A. Amanda Rooney comes on. She's a redshirt sophomore from New York. Another transfer, she from North Carolina. And so finally they get the substitute for Morgan Andrews, who left with an injury in the 19th minute. Fink on the throw, makes a nice turn. Centering pass to Freeman. And she'll use Randall. Randall, the fellow center back of Prysock, who's made a few nice plays already on clearances for the women of Troy. Here she is in the center circle. Good first touch by Levin. She's able to send it all the way across to Fink.
Much better spacing by USC. Good width as they go to the right flank.
Mills a long drive, dispossessed by Tegan McGrady. She wants to go all the way ahead to Carusa. It'll be a USC throw. Pretty balanced match to this point, although Stanford does have a 3-1 shot advantage. USC has consecutive wins over ASU, Arizona, then at Oregon, and then home last week against Utah and Colorado. I won't read all 8 of Stanford's wins, but suffice it to say, they've got the LA schools in Cal with a chance to run the table. Lytle sends a dangerous ball to the top. Sent back out to Maddie Bauer. Plenty of time for her to settle and survey her options.
Both teams had strong non-conference schedules. They both have good wins. USC at 26 RPI coming in, Stanford at 5 RPI. And that schedule, especially for Kadani McAlpine's team, he said that's what gives them the confidence to come in and play Stanford the way they're playing right now. They've won 5 in a row.
Prysock wants to put one in behind. Maddie Bauer and the Stanford backs drop so well they anticipate those direct passes. This one she'll send away. Donaldson with a step on Zhao. Bauer will try it again.
This is truly the first team that I've seen stay up that high on the back line for Stanford. We saw Washington do it a little bit when they could, but not this consistently.
Now they've got numbers. Rosen desperately trying to bring it down and go. No real rhythm to this attack. The sequence was there for Stanford. They had numbers forward, but nothing comes of it.
Nice idea by, I think that was Carusa, trying to pull back and hold up as Zhao didn't go forward, and on the sideline, tough break Morgan Andrews.
That's a troubling sight for a USC side that has been very healthy, very effective, very talented all season long, and still has some great ambitions ahead of them. You would hate to see Morgan Andrews miss out on any of that.
Yeah, the transfer from Notre Dame started every match 2 years in a row for the Fighting Irish.
Look at Stephanie Amack. Amack, one of 5 siblings, including a twin sister, Kenzie. She brings the throw in. Carusa has been busy as a target high for Stanford, battling for possession at the end line. The women of Troy have been very structured, very organized defensively. You can see why they've orchestrated 3 consecutive shutouts.
Yeah, very physical, and they're letting them play. And I don't mind it as long as it's going both ways, and it seems to be.
Kayla Mills, who is a human biology major. There are several future doctors on this USC side, and they often study together when on the road, as they are this weekend in the Bay Area. Sydney Slodek, who plays high, has a career goal to be a surgeon. Alana Cook targeting Zhao, who gets another chance at it here. Flag is up as she was a step offside. And so 25 minutes of soccer in. We are scoreless between USC and Stanford. Top 2 teams on the Pac-12 table, both riding long winning streaks. as the league season gets short. We try and determine a new conference champion. It will not be UCLA this season. That much we can say with certainty. Mullen does well to bring it down. And Freeman hits it ahead. Could be trouble here. Fink got a foot on it. It's followed high. Oh, what a sequence for USC. Unlucky, should be 1-0.
Just got under it too much. It was Sidney Slottick, the sophomore. And just a little lofty shot, and it was just trickling into the box. And Campbell knew she had to come out, so she deflects it. Then she has to retreat because the back line not there. Lytle trying to help her, but had that one just been a little lower, I don't think Lytle would have gotten there.
Got two great strikers, each put a hit on it. One with the keeper closing, another with the goal vacated, and they come up empty.
Slottick on the Pac-12 all-freshman team last year. She has a goal and 2 assists on the season. She was a Nevada Gatorade Player of the Year coming in.
Well done by Donaldson to bring it out of the air. Now she drives center, links up with Fink, who flicked it on. Andy Sullivan scoops it away from trouble.
See Jane Campbell. She wants the width. She wants her outside backs to get wide.
Here's one of them. Amack across the center stripe. Alana Cook has been busy so far. That's a well-directed pass to get Stanford into the attacking third. But Freeman takes it away. Wanted to link up with Fink, who still got a chance at it. Lea Rosen steps on, finds Lytle. Zhao heavy with that first touch. Gives it back to the women of Troy. Good sliding challenge from Lytle to deny Fink.
Something that Stanford does so well, it's their quality of passing. They very rarely lose the ball. With this kind of pressure, they don't always see this kind of pressure. They haven't been quite as clean as they are in some matches.
Long horizontal run there from Carusa. Able to hold the possession for Stanford. Shots level at 3 apiece in this matchup of top 2 Pac-12 clubs. Another nervous moment there as Zhao was just a step behind the play off the deflected header. Here's a giveaway. And Jordan DiBiase with Carusa using her body as a shield as she sends it out to Zhao. And that'll be a USC throw.
Carusa playing very physically. She's being marked. There's some pretty physical matchups for her.
There's another win back for Stanford. Carusa with her back to goal. Lays it off DiBiase. And Prysock takes it away. A good sequence there for Slottick. But Andy Sullivan, we've seen her accelerate with the ball on her foot. That time a recovery run to take it away from Amanda Rooney. Rooney's the player who's replacing Morgan Andrews in the USC midfield.
Andy Sullivan maybe doesn't always show up with the score, but she's always making something happen as the whistle blows. There was a collision at the other end. I think it was Alana Cook involved. It's going to go in her favor.
Rooney and a referee having a laugh about it. Here's Paul Radcliffe. His side coming off 3 unanswered second half goals in a 16-minute span against Washington to keep their title drive in gear. Andy Sullivan getting involved in the attack now. And the Cardinal will have a throw-in. First, though, they'll bring some substitutes onto the field, including Mariah Lee. Megan Turner joining her. So DiBiase comes off for Turner, junior from Danville, California, with an assist on the season.
Much needed rest for these players.
You don't often see Lytle come out, but that's something that's happened more recently. I believe the last time I saw it, at least, was against Washington State. An overtime triumph for the Cardinal.
Well, Mariah Lee is so athletic and quick. She's a very tough matchup, and with the physicality of USC right now and the speed and the pace of this one, I'm not surprised really that Paul Radcliffe, especially going to the sideline. I'd say both coaches are going to try to keep the fresh legs out there and keep the speed, keep this pace up.
They're just adjusting the Stanford formation. Stephanie Amack switches from left back to right back. And they'll drop Tegan McGrady into her left back role. And that allows Mariah Lee to play in the midfield on the right side. So half an hour of scoreless soccer here on the farm. Krista Blanc, JB Long. This is our Pac-12 Women's Soccer Game of the Week. And a just title tonight as two top 16 sides square off. USC needs to win out and get some help from around the league to overtake Stanford. The Cardinal with a win tonight would clinch no worse than a share of the Pac-12 title.
Yeah, it's coming down to points this time of the year, and for Stanford, a 3-point lead over USC. A win gives you 3, and the draw giving you 1. So for Stanford, they've set themselves up there in good position, but tough matches as USC in town. And for Stanford, they will face UCLA on Sunday, and they will finish things off with Cal. Not easy for any of these programs.
The biggest thing for USC would to have the head-to-head tiebreaker against Stanford, not just to be the first team to defeat the Cardinal in conference play. Here's Lee's service. Like it was off the face of Donaldson and spun off the end line. So another Stanford corner. Donaldson and Mills, the outside backs for USC, will have to have big matches tonight, and so far they've been superb.
Yeah, definitely. They've got their hands full, but they're doing an excellent job. Stanford trying to keep that pace up. They want to keep moving. Don't let USC get set.
Tegan McGrady, a low drive. I believe it was Donaldson who had the clearing header. Lea Rosen gets to it for Stanford now. Recycles with the left. Maddie Bauer next. A good combination. Is there a shot? There is, and it kisses the post. Stephanie Amack slams the ground in frustration. She nearly picked up her 3rd goal.
Frustration for Stephanie Amack. This is where it gets scary for USC. Little deflection. Everybody kind of standing and watching the ball, and finally Amack goes for it. And luckily for USC, enough bodies there to just get in the way off the left post. Amack, 2 goals on the year and an assist. Just named COSIDA Academic All-District First Teamer.
Mechanical engineering major, Krista, and has actually done some research at Cal, of all places.
She is definitely a smart player on and off the pitch. Andy Sullivan was also named a 2nd-team COSIDA Academic All-District member, so congratulations to them for their academic prowess.
Women of Troy play it through the air. A rough challenge there by Nicole Mullen. She survives it. Andy Sullivan cutting on the ball for Stanford. Stanford switches the field through their backs. USC putting numbers behind the ball, trying to resist the wave after wave the Stanford attack brings as this match has worn along.
Yeah, not quite seeing them come out quite as high. The pressure's changed.
Zhao takes one with the left that sails over the cage of Sammy Jo Prudhomme, who had her crossbar well marked. So for USC, they had a chance to watch that Cal-UCLA match today, and they know that they're walking into Berkeley to face a top 20 side that posted 7 goals in a shutout victory over UCLA. That match Sunday, 1 o'clock. Make sure you have your Pac-12 Now app locked and loaded for the stretch run of women's soccer. And join us on social media using the hashtag Pac-12WSOC as we crown a new champion here in the league in the next 2 weeks.
And for USC, it's tough in that this is going to be a very tough matchup here tonight. And then you go over to Cal, a team that probably got to put some fresh legs out on the pitch and rest up some of the starters at times.
The other part of that matchup, UCLA. The Bruins will be here on the farm Sunday. Tegan McGrady has to play this cleanly, and she gets a second crack at it. No damage done by USC. I'd like to see Andy Sullivan assert some control over this match through the Stanford midfield.
And she's been fairly quiet up to this point.
That's a nice ball out wide to Tegan McGrady. Forward from her left back spot. Teaming with Zhao. And unable to connect. And just to recap the match a little bit, Stanford jumped out to a 3-1 shot lead. They currently have a 5-3 edge in that category. The big development so far is Morgan Andrews, who is one of the most important players on the USC side, left with an apparent left leg injury in the 19th minute. We have not seen her since.
Yeah, she's just over on the sideline, and we were hopeful that maybe it was just an ankle tweak or something minor, that they could tape her up and get her back out there. And we're still hopeful, obviously, but no sign of her yet.
Stanford will ask Jane Campbell to distribute with her feet. Well, at least it's the ankle.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but I would take an ankle over a knee any
Absolutely,
day in soccer. It's always your first concern. It seems like there's a new ACL injury every week in women's soccer here in the Pac-12.
Interesting to already be icing it right away. It must have been a pretty bad sprain, but hopefully get it iced. Love to see her maybe back in the second half.
Amac brings the throw in. She'll use Alana Cook here. A lot of yardage for Tegan McGrady to chew up, and she drills it with the left. That's at least the third shot tonight that has sailed well over goal for the Stanford Cardinal. And both sides will bring fresh legs into the match here in the 38th minute. Riley Parker, a midfielder and a redshirt junior, second-year transfer from North Carolina, comes to get Amanda Rooney, who originally replaced Morgan Andrews.
Parker wants to be a broadcaster, intern with Fox Sports and ABC LA this past year.
Mariah Lee with a good step there to win possession back for Stanford. And the Cardinal have brought Avery Collins into the match. There's her first touch. Collins had the game winner in double OT at Washington State a week ago.
The 109th minute of that match, she got the game winner.
Rosen able to get to it. The goal is vacated, and the Stanford Cardinal could not get the target.
Just a little slip. The footing not quite there, and that's the difference. And good recovery by the back line for USC.
One back by Megan Turner. That's a slick move by Rosen, who drilled her own teammate Avery Collins on the shot.
Cardinal keep it wide, and it's just a little bit of a deflection, and Prudhomme comes out, and so the contact and collision, but just out of reach. Avery Collins tries to get it with the left foot and just can't contain it. It's just slightly off the mark. Break for USC.
Good work right here by Mandy Freeman, the junior from Royal Palm Beach, Florida.
Freeman, who had been a big anchor, one of the center backs for a couple of seasons, and they moved her more to a holding mid position and just trying to shift players around and get more experience in different areas.
No question, the Cardinal have had more of the ball so far tonight in this first half, as Prysock and the women of Troy have so far resisted every advance. Ryan Walker-Hartshorn comes on for Michelle Zhao for a 5-minute burst here before the half. A stiff challenge by Allie Prysock there. She'll take a foul.
Prysock, the freshman defender who took over the center back spot, and that's why USC made the change with Mandy Freeman, shifting some players around.
Prudhomme and the women of Troy trying to overtake Stanford atop the Pac-12 table. Lea Rosen onto it. McGrady on the drop-off. Chip in behind. A big first hop, and Ryan Walker-Hartshorn took a swing at it. She would have been offside. I think Avery Collins, had she pocketed the first one, might have had the Stanford goal cleanly.
Great idea, though, and there you see Walker-Hartshorn. She gets up. Collins as well is there, as Prudhomme comes out on her.
Now, Walker-Hartshorn was definitely a step off. I think Collins might have been level.
Yeah. Like the energy that Walker-Hartshorn brings in, though, off the bench. She's been a starter at times this season, primarily comes in as a substitute.
Mariah Lee with a burst into space. She cuts it end line. Donaldson, well done. The Cardinals still on the attack with Amack. Sends in a left-footed ball. Chested down by Rosen. 3 minutes left before the half as Rosen peppers one in front. And Mullen gets it away. Good composure there by Mills. She and Randall teaming here to buy some relief for USC.
Shots advantage had evened up, but now Stanford is 7-3 advantage. We've seen a few as of late.
All right, so Kate Scott is standing by with our Pac-12 soccer halftime reports. Among the stories we love about Morgan Andrews was her prep football career. Details about that story, plus we mentioned the Ariel Shipp hat trick for Cal and an explosive win over UCLA. I'm sure Kate Scott will deliver those highlights with pizzazz, the Cal Bear that she is. That's coming up at halftime. Haley Heights is in for USC, as is Tamara Mejia. So both sides with some late substitutes looking for the go-ahead goal before the half. And that's Morgan Andrews. She's been on the bench since the 19th minute, and that look says she's done for the night. We'll check in with Kadani McAlpine at halftime. Jane Campbell awaits this on a hop. 90 seconds left in our opening half.
Well, I think if you're USC, you have to feel pretty good that your top point getter in Morgan Andrews goes out fairly early in this half, but your team able to still get some shots, get some looks, test the back line of the Cardinal, and potentially keep this scoreless.
This is Avery Collins making her turn end line. And Stanford will get a late corner in the final minute of the half. Fifth-year senior Lea Rosen looking to lead her side to a Pac-12 championship. It would be the 10th in program history. A flighted ball to the 6. Looked like one of the Cardinal got a header on it. Punched away by Prudhomme. And now Andy Sullivan. And Trojan defense stepping up. Stanford still on possession. McGrady throws it in the mixture with the left foot and off the mark. And that should all but do it for our opening half. Here's one thing to look for in the second half, and that is USC has been a second half side. Much better after the break, 19 second-half goals compared to just 5 in the first 45 minutes. So they have to feel pretty good about losing their star, as you said, Krista, and being level with right now the first-place team on the Pac-12 table.
Well, Sammy Jo Prudhomme tested a bit. A little bit more than Jane Campbell for the Cardinal, but holding her own, and I think the back line was solid on both sides.
Let's check in with Kidani McAlpine, and first we've seen the shots of Morgan Andrews icing that left ankle. What can you tell us about her status for this match?
You know what? I'm not real sure. Obviously, she's in a lot of pain. I'm going to check with our athletic trainer here in a second and kind of see what her status is, but it's not looking like she's going to go back. But I thought the rest of them came in and did a good job while she was out.
And Coach, I know you lose a player like Morgan Andrews, but yet it's still scoreless here at the half. There's a lot of positives, I'm sure, to take. What were some of the things you liked that your team did?
When we actually took our time and connected a few passes, we were pretty good. Also, we got to try to stretch the line a little bit. They like things to be in front of them. They're very good swarming in their defending. But we got to make them run and face their own goal a little bit. Now, that'll be the test in the second half.
We know your side has been very good in the second half of matches this season. We'll see if the trend continues. Thanks for your halftime thoughts, Kidani.
Thanks so much.
All right, USC and Stanford in a showdown for the top spot on the Pac-12 table. Scoreless after 45 minutes. A reminder that Kate Scott is standing by with our Pac-12 women's soccer half.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate Scott in the Pac-12 Network studios with your half-time report. No score so far between the top two teams in the conference down at Stanford. As you saw, USC's Morgan Andrews took a knock in the first half. Hopefully we'll see her back in the second. What you may not have seen before is how great she is at kicking another kind of football as well.
Being athletic is definitely a part of my identity, and being an athlete, you know, among other things. I've built my life around sports, and especially soccer. But when it came to high school, I kind of wanted to make it interesting, and so I played a little football my junior and senior years.
How long has it been since you've done this?
3 years. Junior year, they needed a kicker, and so I decided to go out and say, why not? You know, add a little something to the resume. At first, I didn't tell my parents. I went to tryouts, and they didn't know about it. And then when I made the team, I came home in football pads, and they're like, okay, well, as long as you don't get hurt, you can go ahead and do it. Just, you know, growing up with all of those kids on the football team, I mean, I come from a small town. It's a blue-collar town where everyone loves sports and everyone loves people who work hard, and that's what that team was made of, is made of hard workers and great people. And I'm still friends with a lot of those guys now, so it was just a really good experience. I missed my first kick. It was traumatizing. It was absolutely terrible. But then I never missed another kick my junior year. Woo! It's good.
Great stuff there on Andrews. And a great day for the Golden Bears in Berkeley. Ari Schiff and company looking for their first win of the Bruins since 2004. They'd get that and more. Cal up 1-0 at the half. Then in the 49th minute, an own goal by the Bruins. Yeah, I hate that. Would double the Bears' lead. 20 minutes later, they double it again. Schiff's second of the day makes it 4-0 Cal, and unfortunately for the Bruins, the Bears weren't even close to being done. 67th minute now. Heather Wally's shot is blocked, but guess who's there for the putback? Schiff's second hat trick of the season gives her Pac-12 best 14 goals on the year. Bears blow out the Bruins 7-0. Oregon and Arizona State just underway tonight in Tempe. ASU honoring Pat Tillman with special salute to service jerseys this evening. Ducks first drive. Vernon Adams drops back and airs it out 46 yards later. He's got Darren Carrington, and the Ducks are in business. But the Devils deal would hold strong, force a fourth down, so Aiden Schneider had to settle for 3. That's where we are in the first. Ducks up 3-0. Your Pac-12 Sports Report update is coming your way next, as we are scoreless between the top two teams in the conference down on the farm.
Moments away from the start of our second half, USC and Stanford battling for control of the Pac-12 table. Let's check in with Stanford head coach Paul Radcliffe at halftime, and I see 7 shots in the box score, but no result. I'm sure you'd like to be up 2-0, maybe 3-0 at this point.
Yeah, I know. We got to break the ice, but I think it's been a high-level game. USC's a strong opponent, and both teams are playing well. but we need to, find our midfielders a little bit more and then get our outside backs forward and just create more shooting opportunities.
And Paul, it seemed as though USC really came at you. They were aggressive, they were physical, they were playing out pretty high, and then they backed off maybe just a little bit. Did you talk to the team about that? What can they do to try to get out of those situations?
I think it's just speed of play out of the back and communication. They're leaving one player open in the back, and we've got to find the right player that's open, and then we've got to bring the ball forward and get our rhythm going. It's really important to get that rhythm going, the passing rhythm.
Paul, appreciate your insight as always at the half.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks,
All right.
Paul.
Scoreless here, but some of the chances you'll get a look at for Stanford. The biggest storyline to this point in the match, in case you're joining us now, is that Morgan Andrews, the two-way star for USC, 5 goals on the season, and it looks like her night is likely over.
That is very unfortunate as we see her sitting there with the ice on, and she got tangled up with Alana Cook. But a lot of opportunities. You mentioned that to Paul Radcliffe. They had chances and great movement away from the ball. This is Michelle Zhao. She steps in, slides in right behind the D, but loses her footing. A little bit of physical play, just enough. And how about these options? Multiple players moving, beautiful cross. So opportunities, but how about the defense, that back line, just not giving an inch, not giving an angle so that Stanford can capitalize, and so close was Stephanie Amack. And again, physical play maybe just enough to keep her from scoring that one to the back of the net.
7-3, the shots advantage. A couple of saves for Sammy Jo Prudhomme. And again, Andrews leaving the game in the 19th minute. We'll track her replacements and how effective they are in the USC midfield as this match goes along.
4 corners for the Stanford Cardinal compared to just 1 for USC. And USC played very aggressively, but I'm sure they'd like to get a few more of those set pieces and try to challenge Jane Campbell a little bit more.
So here comes the second half. Stanford at 8-0 on the season, outscoring their Pac-12 foes 18-4. So they have been dominant to this point. But USC, among the more talented sides they will face this season. And the women of Troy at 7-1, trying to overtake first place Stanford on their home pitch. You mentioned the academic honors for Stephanie Amack and company on the Stanford side. On the USC side, Nicole Mullen, who is 11 in white, we've mentioned a few times tonight, as a first-team honoree, and Mariah Early, a reserve and a junior, also receiving academic recognition.
Yeah, congratulations to them as well. And Nicole Mullen, the highest GPA on the team, and 3.94 this past year. Always up and talking, McAlpine, Coach McAlpine.
Mentioned going to half, that they are a second half team. Well, both sides knocking it around here to start this second half. Let's see which side assumes control. Fink off the throw, plays through her center back. Haley Height gets a start in the high attacking role for Konani McAlpine in this second half. Alana Cook plays to the feet of Carusa. Now Haley Rosen. Rosen, the reigning Pac-12 Player of the Week for her dynamic effort on the road at Washington State and UW.
Jane Campbell, the Pac-12 Keeper of the Week. It was a great road trip for the Cardinal. And to me, one of the toughest, if not the toughest, in conference play to go to Washington State and to Washington.
Height working with Mullen to put the women of Troy on the run. 11 drops it back a level. Here's Freeman. Randy Freeman going over the top. Amack with good height at that outside back position. No problem winning it in the air. Heard Paul Radcliffe say he wants to find his midfielders a little bit more. So far, the Cardinal playing pretty direct up top to Carusa. See if they can get the likes of DiBiase involved and maybe Andy Sullivan a bit more involved in the attack.
Well, the midfield's definitely congested, and for USC, they've done a nice job defensively. They were not giving anything in the middle.
That's a nice cut inside. Michelle Zhao trying to frame it up with the left. A dipping ball just wide of the back post.
Using her amazing speed, Michelle Zhao, the freshman out of Omaha, Nebraska, just misses the left corner. One little slip. The D trying to stay with her, the outreached leg just enough to take away the angle. So close, Prudhomme, just a little too late. Love the play of this player.
Lea Rosen continues her run. Lea Rosen. Well, if there's been a missed shot location so far tonight, it's been high for Stanford.
It has. Legs pumped up, just underneath that one too much. Again, help D coming over, adding a little bit extra pressure. What a season Lea Rosen has had. The redshirt senior, she's been injured the majority of her career. Finally this season, healthy.
I led the Cardinal over the weekend in points with 5, goals with 2, and shots with 7 to earn that Pac-12 honor. DiBiase back to Rosen. Here's Sullivan. Such composure on the ball. Wanted Zhao on that diagonal, intercepted by the back line of USC. Now Donaldson has had a really nice match from the left back spot for the women of Troy. She'll take this throw.
She really has. She's been so physical and very difficult matchups for her.
Well, next up for Stanford, the UCLA Bruins, Sunday 3:30 here on the Farm. As Lea Rosen steps onto it, top of the 18. One more touch to the end line. Now she cuts it back. Rosen against Donaldson, and that second defender arrives. Prysock after Donaldson held up Rosen.
Rosen hanging on to that one just a little too long and let the help D come over.
Now Andy Sullivan on a drive. Sullivan hits it wide.
And Prudhomme up talking to her team. She did not like that shot. And Sullivan goes left. Everybody left of the net. The D was behind her. But just a little bit off the mark. She had enough on it. It stayed low.
So double-digit shot attempts now for Stanford, but still looking to break through. They're starting to buzz in front of goal. Are they on the verge of catching the first? And Sullivan calling for possession. Touch out to Amack. Stephanie Amack hit a post in the first half. A giveaway to Mills here. And Kayla Mills on a trip into the attacking half.
And she just slipped right there as some extra help came defensively, but I don't think there was contact. Kayla Mills has been very quiet in this match.
Rosen challenge. She flings it out to Amack. Can she get onto it? She does indeed. Now picking out a target, and we'll take a corner.
Excellent job by Stephanie Amack. She called for it and went out even wider on the left flank, but calling for it, spreading the D, and then sets up this corner.
12 in black there is Kira Carusa right in front of Sammy Jo Prudhomme.
DiBiase also in the box. She's a great target.
We've seen Lea Rosen take a lot of corners tonight. Now Andy Sullivan wants one. It comes back to her, and the second attempts with Alana Cook, her target.
Cook at 5'9", but got underneath that one. Didn't have the right angle on the header. How about Andy Sullivan? A little bit of a miscue off the corner, but gets it right back and almost sets it up again as if she has a second corner, giving her team chances.
On 5 goals with 2 assists in this junior campaign, sophomore campaign, I should say, for Andy Sullivan.
She plays like a junior.
Well, yeah, it's hard to believe. She's a team captain in just her second year on campus. Former #1 recruit in the nation. It's a nice touch by Haley Height to get in behind. And Amack on the recovery run. Height keeps it alive. And Mills up to recycle it. Bauer a partial clearance. That's the best traction we've seen in the second half for USC to this point.
I like the quick counter that Mills in particular tried to go with, knowing that.
Oh, great skill and an even better ball. Can Mullen make anything out of it? All swarmed by black jerseys. And now against the run of play. Here comes Kira Caruso, 1v2. Got caught up on her heel, and now numbers behind the ball for USC as Michelle Zhao arrives. Has Andy Sullivan across the pitch as a target. Lays it off DiBiase. A good recovery there by USC, as that could have been dangerous for the Cardinal.
It was, because it looked as though it was going to be a great setup by the Cardinal. At the other end, I liked what USC was trying to do, but they could not possess it long enough. But I think you have to counter quickly against Stanford before they're able to get set. Stanford was trying to do the same exact thing, but good job by the back line to get settled.
Tamara Mejia came on as a substitute late in the first half. He's 7 in white there, the closest Trojan to us, playing on in the second half. Look at Paul Radcliffe and Hideki Nakata, his assistants. 14-2 on the season, 8-0 in league are the Stanford Cardinal. A draw here tonight would be a favorable result for them, as they would maintain control of the Pac-12 standings. However, with a win, they would clinch no worse than a share of a conference title.
They don't want to mess around. They want to try to, obviously, take care of business. But they do have a little bit of a cushion.
Amack and Tegan McGrady here on possession for Stanford. Amack got the cross. Lea Rosen, look out here. Just good challenges, good steps across the board for USC to deny the chance. Now Lytle will hit it from distance, and Prudhomme lets it go.
It was Natalie Donaldson that stepped up and did not allow Lea Rosen to make her turn. Great defense by Donaldson, because Rosen was just about ready to turn and fire, and Donaldson came right up.
Rosen gets the first header for Stanford. Prysock a partial whiff. That allows Michelle Zhao to run onto it and challenge Donaldson again. Every time that Natalie Donaldson has been tested tonight, she has withstood. Lytle, time to line up her service. Tegan McGrady got onto it, but not enough venom to beat Sammy Jo Prudhomme.
Prudhomme followed that the entire way. Not enough on it off the header.
So that's the first official save credited to Sammy Jo Prudhomme tonight.
Good width. Lytle lofts this one up high. And McGrady coming around. She got the right angle, but just not enough on it. Good defense matching up, not letting her get full contact.
Andy Sullivan's on the move. Randall the recovery run for USC. One of the most dynamic players in the country. Flings it out wide now as Stanford is on the attack. Tegan McGrady wanted Michelle Zhao as her target. Mullen will get to this one. A battle of number 11, says Jordan DiBiase, trying to win possession back for the Cardinal. I think the women of Troy know that this has to be a total team defensive effort tonight, as every position on the field seems to have been involved in the defensive third lately.
And the communication's so important.
Randall spotting Freeman. Have not seen Freeman with this much room to operate tonight. Sends a big ball over the top. Fink battling for the second ball, and she gets the corner. Good work up against Laura Lytle. That's a good result for USC, and Kadani McAlpine will bring a substitute into the match here in the 58th minutes. Sydney Slaudeck comes back on. Sophomore and a Nevada Gatorade Player of the Year from back in 2013. Replaces Haley Height.
I like the play from the freshman Height. I thought she was very aggressive. I liked her movement away from the ball.
Janie Fink brings the corner. Maddie Bauer, the header for Stanford. An easy clearance for the Cardinal. No handball there either.
The crowd thought differently, I believe, but no whistle, they play on.
There was one big handball missed in the first half that would have given Stanford a kick from, let's say 22, 23 yards away. Saw the intention there on the through ball off the foot of Tamara Mejia. Well, Stanford has had more of the ball. They have a 13-4 shot advantage. But USC has been well structured defensively, and so far, no goal to show for it.
Both teams have seen that happen to them quite often. The shots by USC on the season, they have dominated, but not always gotten the results. They had 29 shots in their win against Colorado, only 3 goals.
For the moment, it looks like they may have to catch one against the run of play. Nearly an hour of soccer scoreless here on the farm.
Miscue there from Stephanie Amack, so the throw in now to Kayla Mills. There's Mills. She got an opportunity in last season to play with the under-23 national team, and Jane Campbell was part of that team, as well as Andy Sullivan, so she knows how at least a couple of the Cardinal can play, but better to be a teammate, I think, sometimes than to have to go up against them.
That was early in the calendar year at the Four Nations event?
Yeah, the Four Nations tournament, and they were able to get the win in that one, and a great experience anytime, and we have so many different national team players on both sides here tonight, and that experience, a big plus.
Room to roam for Alana Cook. She chooses the left flank, and Stephanie Amack driving 1v1. That's a great heel flick to Tegan McGrady on the overlapping run. Denied the corner, denied the cross, and a deep throw for Stanford instead. End of the 61st minute of our Pac-12 Women's Soccer Game of the Week. Carusa has it back on her laces. Kira Carusa looking for a way to get around Randall. Chooses Michelle Zhao. Zhao driving with the left. Kept it on the floor. Lea Rosen now. Great move end line. Slots it in. A flick for a goal. What a combination as the Cardinal break through.
You know, sometimes there's a time to not be flashy. This was a situation where there was no choice but to be flashy on this play. Team effort. And just movement without the ball, the heel flick from behind, and a beautiful finish by DiBiase.
All she does is score game-winning goals.
That's all she does.
And this one puts Stanford in front 1-0.
She came across, she read perfectly where she needed to be in the D, not able to keep up with her, but she almost ran in front of it too far, and at the last minute, reversed the heel flick in.
So the first place team in the conference catches one right at the end of the 60th minute, into the 61st. Jordan DiBiase, what a freshman season. Now 3 goals to go along with an assist. And this is Stanford's comfort zone. They can play from ahead on their home field all night.
Give another assist to Lea Rosen as well, her 5th on the season. She is the kind of player that you know she's capable of scoring, but she's even better setting up her teammates. And Her sister plays for USC, doesn't get quite as much playing time as Haley, but nonetheless, she's had a few minutes here and there. Lea Rosen, the freshman.
Challenge changes now for USC as they have to find a way to get on their front foot and find the equalizer. Some of the photos of the Haley Rosen and Lea Rosen sisters.
You gotta love that. Maybe not tonight if you're Nikki, but nonetheless, Haley, a redshirt senior, I think she's got to be so proud. And had Haley not been able to come back because of the injuries in the redshirt season, they wouldn't have had the chance to play against each other. So great to see.
A great position here for the women of Troy. Can they frame up a shot? A wonderful turn, a test for the keeper. And Jane Campbell couldn't secure it. And no damage done.
That's a beautiful attempt, though, by Kayla Mills. Great shot, great angle. And she got a lot of pop behind this. If she could have just had one teammate dropping in, because Jane Campbell could not hang on to it, but nobody over on the left side coming in.
Lee in for Zhao, just like in the first half, in the 64th minute. Here's another touch for Rosen. Oh, he documented it in the first half. I'm not sure that anyone's going to take away Pac-12 Player of the Year from Ariel Shipp of Cal at this point, but would you say that Rosen's been a tremendous candidate for team MVP, if nothing else, here at Stanford?
Oh, she definitely is. I think she has just had one of those seasons that any player could only imagine.
Kira Carusa does such a great job of possession as a target forward, so often receiving with her back to goal. She instigates a lot of what the Cardinal do in the attacking third.
You know, the thing about Kira Carusa, Paul Radcliffe, the head coach, told us that she connects the attack. There's something about the play of Kira Carusa and what she's able to do with the attack, and maybe the number doesn't always go in the goals and assists for her, although she's got 4 goals, 3 assists on the season, but she's just a competitor. She's got a nose to score, and he just said she's the one that connects it.
In her club days was a team captain of the San Diego Surf. It's the same club that has produced several Cardinal, including Pac-12 standouts like Laura Lytle. Here she is again, just buzzing around the top of the 18. Randall with the partial clearance. Mullen a couple of nice touches for USC. Mills working against McGrady. Now Mandy Freeman crosses midfield. Riley Parker is that left flank attacker at the moment for USC. And there is Lytle, speaking of the San Diego Surfs.
Lytle trying to take the ball, and instead it's USC's.
Switch it over to Mills. USC looking for one of those patented second half flurries. They've been excellent offensively in the second half, and they've been a better goal scoring team in Pac-12 play. There's 16 goals scored in Pac-12 matches. That's second only to Stanford in the conference.
Tough matchup there between Rosen and Mills. And Mills gets the win.
And that streak of 3+ matches of shutout soccer finally snapped by Stanford, the 332nd minute in which USC had not allowed a goal. So that streak is done. Will their winning streak survive the night?
Yeah.
We're about to find out. McGrady content to reverse field a few times and pick out Maddie Bauer.
USC had a big group, 10 starters back from a team that went to the NCAA tournament last year, lost in the first round on a draw in PKs to Pepperdine. So you get 10 starters back, but you do lose your starting keeper. But they are able to fill that with a veteran keeper in Prudhomme. But they also lost their leading scorer, Alex Quincy, who had 10 goals on the season. So not a lot of adjustments to have to make, but still, always change, and it's always a different team.
DiBiase, a nice touch to Rosen here. Got all the space as they drop off Alana Cook. That's a nice touch to the outside from Carusa to Amack. Stephanie Amack against Mills. Andy Sullivan plays into the feet of Rosen now. Patient build by the Cardinal, protecting a 1-0 lead. Rosen makes a sweet turn. Enters the area. Wanted to play a pass ahead, and it'll be a goal kick for USC. So Stanford potentially closing in on a Pac-12 championship on the women's side. The men are in the driver's seat in their conference as well, and they go to Washington this weekend. The first to stop in Corvallis, but we'll have the Monday match for you in Seattle. Number 4 Stanford and the Dogs. Monday, 7 o'clock. Pac-12 Network also available on pac-12.com or your Pac-12 Now mobile app. And the Stanford men are the reigning Pac-12 champions. On the women's side, the Cardinal and the Bruins have dominated from a championship perspective. The Bruins are out of it at this point of the season, but Stanford can continue that run. This conference's 2 Titans.
The last championship for Stanford back in 2012, but they had won 4 in a row in which they were undefeated, and then UCLA stepped up.
Clean tackle there. Nicole Mullen. Now Freeman on the move. Jamie Fink. Now Stanford able to recover defensively, but USC gets a corner out of it, and there are those Pac-12 soccer championships you mentioned. UCLA and Stanford controlling.
Yeah, they have dominated. It was really, I think, if Stanford continues, and I've been impressed with what they've done, but I have to be honest, I'm a little surprised that there was any team that was capable of being undefeated this year. I really felt like the parity this season for the conference, it was so up for grabs.
Women of Troy looking for the equalizer. Out of the back line, Donaldson got a crack at it. 70 minutes of soccer gone. It's 1-0, Jane Campbell and Stanford.
I don't know if at the start of Pac-12 play, if we had said there will absolutely be an undefeated team, if anybody would have thought that there could be this year. I think it's been a very close race, and Jane Campbell, good size in the box, comes out. They list her at 5'9". What a big presence, though, and punches that one out of the way.
I think you're right, Krista. That was consensus among coaches around the league that UCLA might be down, Stanford might be susceptible. Perhaps a Cal or USC could jump up and grab a Pac-12 championship.
And they could have, and they still can, depending. I mean, Stanford was picked first in the preseason to win it, but I don't know if anybody would have thought undefeated would be the possibility.
Oh, this is the critical match.
Yeah.
Stanford clinches a share with the win. USC needing a result to give themselves a chance to overtake the Cardinal on the Pac-12 table. There's Randall looking ahead, and the women of Troy have started to go a bit more direct, play more balls over the top, trying to win some second balls and maybe find a shot on goal. They forced Jane Campbell to make 3 saves so far on this night, and Michelle Zhao, after a quick breather, is back. She comes to get Lytle, and that means that Tegan McGrady becomes an outside back in this formation. Kayla Mills getting involved in the attacking third for USC. Working with Freeman now.
Yeah, Mills was pretty quiet in the first half. We didn't see her get quite as involved, and I like her being a bit more active.
This is Fink looking for Slodek, who lost at end line, and a goal kick coming for Campbell. Sydney Slodek, a goal and 2 assists in her sophomore campaign. twice a state champion in soccer, and she also won the 800 meters as a prep in the state of Nevada. See Stanford, we mentioned USC, a second half side. The Cardinal have been no slouches after halftime.
Yeah, a perfect example, their last match at Washington, scoreless at the half, and then end up winning it 3-0.
Zhao back into the match and with a full head of steam, giving Levin and others trouble on that back line. Carusa beautifully into the feet of Lee. She goes spilling. And a foul against Mariah Lee.
This crowd not agreeing. She was going full blast into the box. She slips in, gets in position, and just plows right into the help defense coming over. So a little bit of contact on her right, but then full blast. Right into
this is Lee
Dominic
again.
Randall. She looks a little bit frustrated, not happy, I'm sure, with the last call. Natalie Donaldson, who's been so physical and so busy in this match. Yep. Donaldson saying, really? Gets the whistle to go her way.
It feels like an important restart here for Allie Prysock and USC. Let's see if she can drive a ball into a threatening zone. Freeman flicks it on. Maddie Bauer has the first header. Rosen next. Well marked all around by the Stanford Cardinal, and it's Amack switching over to right back as Lytle has left the match. Now, this was the foul called against Lee moments ago as the second defender arrives.
Well, Dominic Randall steps in front. I think it goes against Mariah Lee. And Dominic Randall, who was stepping in for the ball. And some contact there, no whistle.
Well, Mariah Lee, or Michelle Zhao that is, has an advantage, and it's a play on for the moment. And now the whistle for the foul. And there should be a booking here. Well orchestrated by our referee to let the Cardinal continue on. And the crowd applauds that decision, and ultimately the yellow card.
It goes against Savannah Levin. It was a bit of a late whistle, and I think that's why she's probably a little surprised. But the right hand's going to grab the shoulder of Michelle Zhao. So no whistle right there, JB, but then she gets the call later in the yellow card. That's got to be the only thing that Levin could be questioning, because there's no doubt she committed the foul.
Wins an important ball here, but right to Maddie Bauer. And now Andy Sullivan. Links up easily with Carusa. That's a great switch. Lee gets a drive. The Cardinals starting to click on all cylinders here. Working to extend a one-goal advantage.
It's a good look. They keep it out wide. You can see Lee at the top of the box and plenty of room. Nobody there in front of her, but she doesn't quite get turned enough to get the angle she needed. Prudhomme was right there following it the entire way, but a good setup by the Cardinal.
I like that it was applauded by Alana Cook and Andy Sullivan there in the last shot. Not the result they had hoped for, but they can appreciate the football nonetheless. Very incisive ball from Cook to Andy Sullivan at pace. Slots it out now to Zhao. Zhao against Levin. And look at Andy Sullivan, what skill. She takes a drive with the rights. It was wide of Prudhomme's goal, but she smothers it just to be safe. 76th minute, 1-0 Cardinal on the Jordan DiBiase goal.
Andy Sullivan. When the ball's at her feet, JB, I feel like it's connected to her shoe, and she's just running, and that the ball is just right there with her. She's so technically gifted.
According to the box score, this is a just result at the moment, but USC doesn't have to play the box score. They just need to catch a goal here in the next 15 minutes. Megan Turner, another valuable Stanford reserve, gets great width with Lee. Carusa's her target. Made a run to the first post, and the ball went to the second.
Just a little too much on it. Nobody on the opposite side. Michelle Zhao was out there, but it went skidding.
Slaudeck couldn't handle it. Cook controls for Stanford. Donaldson challenging Lee. Mariah Lee diving in with the left. She puts a good hit on it. Sammy Jo Prudhomme collects another save. That's her third of the match. Each keeper with 3 saves tonight.
She had enough on it, just could not get it away from Prudhomme, who read it all the way in.
Mullen turning away from trouble. And Dominique Randall. It's a good connection with Mills. Mills has gone from right back to more of a midfield role as USC looks for the equalizer. Carusa will try to chip it in behind. Megan Turner still had a chance at it. Carusa's drive is deflected on the way through, and how about that outside footed ball from Friedman, some 30 yards downfield.
The passing just not quite clean up, and now there's collisions, a couple of them. Sidney Slottick. She and Cook. Cook wasn't happy with it, and it was a little push there as Cook's foot seemed to be in the way.
12 minutes left for the Cardinal to cover here as they look to improve to 9-0 in conference play and clinch a share of the league championship. USC arrived on the farm in second place on the league table. Zhao and Tegan McGrady the combination here as McGrady breaks end line. A left-footed ball and gets a corner.
Rosen will take this corner. Let's see what the Cardinal look to do. Andy Sullivan moving in to the top of the box.
As Krista pointed out earlier, Rosen collecting her 5th assist of the season tonight. Comes out to Zhao. And Sullivan with a left-footed ball. And the horn sounds as Kadani McAlpine will bring in Haley's sister. We mentioned her earlier, Nikki, a freshman from Rolling Hills, California, Palos Verdes High School. Does she have some late scoring punch for the women of Troy?
3-time Offensive Player of the Year out of her high school. And she was the high school's Athlete of the Year last season. Very athletic Rosen family.
Maybe Coach McAlpine just playing the family charm, hoping that you put a Rosen on the field at Kagan Stadium and something good will happen.
You never know.
Great ball over the top to Zhao, but anticipated by Randall. She's going to get there first and shield Zhao from the ball as best she can. Does it have enough steam to get out for a goal kick? Instead, she sends it away. Mullen with the audience crying handball. We play on.
McGrady playing that one off of Mills.
So we enter the final 10 minutes of championship caliber soccer here on the farm. Krista Blunk, JB Long. Ross Miller is our producer tonight. Thank you to Mark Wolfson, our director, as well. It's our Pac-12 Women's Soccer Game of the Week, and it has lived up to the billing. Megan Turner here pivoting. Alana Cook with her eyes up wants Lee. That's a great turn without the ball. Donaldson challenging her. Comes across the goal mouth and Zhao skies it across the area.
Zhao was just a little bit late getting in on the left flank. Inside for that cross. Just didn't quite get there. It was a nice idea.
Amack brings the throw. Carusa with her back to goal. The flag is up as she left Lee a step offside.
Keeper Carusa, instinctively every single time there's a throw-in of any sort to her, she knows she's going to have one, if not two or three defenders right on her back. And she just kind of hunkers down and gets ready for the contact every time.
Good header from Maddie Bauer. And another from side. Comes to the feet of Mills. Rosen waits for the throw in. And again, the clock is in their favor here, protecting a 1-goal advantage.
Great crowd here tonight, trying to cheer on their Cardinal in hopes of getting another Pac-12 crown. I think USC has some fans here also. They've made a trip to the Bay.
A flighted ball and quickly off her line, Sammy Jo Prudhomme. She has to get the Trojans going here. There's the crowd you spoke of.
Yeah.
Near side bleachers almost completely full tonight at Kagan. One other storyline to watch here late is a potential clean sheet for Jane Campbell. It would be the 26th of her career, and she would match Emily Oliver for number 5 all-time at Stanford in shutout. She'll get a touch with her feet. 7 minutes left to cover. She's made 3 saves on the evening. Slodek forces her to send it away. Stanford attack has been the Cardinals' best defense tonight. They've had more of the ball. They've had better position on the field. It's been tough for USC to gain any traction in their attacking third.
They came out pressuring. They came up playing out very high, and then it backed off just a little bit. And that's the thing about Stanford, the depth and their patience. They force you to play a lot of defense, and it wears teams down.
USC has fought valiantly without one of their best players, Morgan Andrews. She's been missing in action following an injury in the 19th minute. Without her, can they find a goal? The good news for her and for Coach McAlpine is there's an extra day between matches playing on this Thursday night. Perhaps that extra day of rest might give her a chance to play when they travel across the bay on Sunday to see Cal.
We absolutely hope so.
Michelle Zhao looking to put the finishing touches on this with a second goal. Tegan McGrady has been influential this evening. And now Andy Sullivan.
It says a lot about USC to just be down 1-0.
Left-footed service from Zhao. Prysock had it marked for USC.
You lose your leading scorer and assist player early on in a match, and you're on the road. Sometimes it takes teams a long time to adjust, but they have really settled in and been able to handle this without Morgan Andrews, just giving up the one score.
It'll be a USC throw, and that will allow Coach McAlpine to get a substitute in the match who's been waiting at the table for quite a while. Sidney Johnson, a sophomore whose father Stephen played baseball in the Pac-12 at Oregon. She's on 5 goals, so some late scoring punch to the USC lineup. Does she have the equalizer?
She has 5 goals on the season. She might be just the spark off the bench they need.
Valuable seconds on the touchline here for AMAC and the Cardinal. Dominique Randall sends one ahead. Everything is falling to the feet of the Cardinal tonight. 4 minutes left to cover to clinch a share of the Pac-12 championship.
Almost a mistake there by Cook.
Oh, what a touch by Andy Sullivan. Astonishing there's no whistle, but she pulls it out anyway. And she'll let Mariah Lee run onto it. Now Lee's going to bury this in the corner. Run some clock. Stanford gets a throw in. Some game management here from the Cardinal. Stanford looking to defeat USC for the 7th time in their last 8 meetings. The only Trojans victory in that stretch was on this field back in 2013. There's a forward win. Kira Carusa and the Cardinal. Looks like Carusa wants to take it to the left corner. Working against Randall. She accomplishes that goal. And another, no, this one goes against Stanford. Looked like she'd done it.
Defense coming over to help. Dom Randall doing a great job. It was Savannah Levin stepping over, taking it away.
Remember, she started as an attacker up on the left side for USC. Tonight has dropped into a right back role. Carusa was offside. Let's see how the women of Troy intend to play this. They try and build an attack. Do they go over the top and hope to win a second ball?
They go back to Prudhomme, and then she gives it right back.
Sidney Johnson, the sophomore, on for some added offense late for USC. She's taken down, but plays on. Her service rejected by Tegan McGrady. 90 seconds left on the farm. Johnson, a left-footed ball at the top of the 18. Mullen surrounded and swept away. Recycled back in, and on a hop, Jane Campbell secures. And Campbell and the Cardinal looking for another clean sheet. It would be her 7th of the season and 26th career. It would match her predecessor, Emily Oliver, in the Stanford record books, number 5 all time. 1 minute left. Sammy Jo Prudhomme puts a foot into it. Lee sends it ahead. Zhao brings it down. A job well done, Michelle Zhao. And Stanford will take time getting throw in. Likely only one more good sequence. I think the referee will stop the clock there. Make sure that Stanford earns every second of this.
Stanford hesitating a bit on who was going to have the throw in. Good little stall game, but
last touch by USC there, and that should all but do it. Megan Turner throws it in. Kira Carusa chests it down. And Stanford will be a Pac-12 champion in women's soccer again. 1-0, the final on the farm. The Cardinal unbeaten in Pac-12 play. They improve to 9-0. Jordan DiBiase, the goal scorer. Stanford celebrates a conference crown. Jane Campbell, another clean sheet. And Paul Radcliffe and the Cardinal have done it again.
smiles on the faces, and for good reason. At least a tie of that Pac-12 championship, and pretty impressive.
Well, it's a just result for Stanford. It'll be a 12 best nominee. You may see it Monday on Sports Report.
It better be Lea Rosen and then DiBiase. Fancy with the flick to the back of the net.
That snapped a streak of more than 300 minutes of defensive soccer for USC in which they had not allowed a goal. But DiBiase and the Cardinal break through. For her, it's the third goal of the season, her freshman season, and they've all been game winners. The first against top 10 BYU in the non-conference slate, then at UW, and here tonight against USC in the biggest match of the season for Stanford.
So a tough break for USC, and again losing their leading scorer out to the ankle. We hope that Morgan Andrews will make her way back to Cal.
Well said. Krista Blanc, I'm JB Long. Again, our producer tonight has been Ross Miller, our director, Mark Wolfson. Thank you for being with us for our Pac-12 Women's Soccer Game of the Week. It goes to the Cardinal 1-0. And number 4, Stanford has clinched no worse than a share of the Pac-12 crown. They will be home to